contract negotiation process as the head coach?
I always have my exit interviews with Joe. We've got an ongoing dialogue about everything that involves our football team with him because he's such an important part of that. But the contractual stuff, I'm going to let everybody else deal with that.
The last three fluid situation with Lyle, and depending on if he can come back, when he can come back, and the way maybe Jackson played in the postseason. Did you give any thought to moving Jonah from left to right, or are you wedded with him as your left if he's healthy?
That's a hard thing to answer. I think Jonah did a nice job for us at left tackle. So we'll just continue to get through the offseason and see what it's about.
Can you assess how Jackson played in a couple of playoff games?
Yeah, I thought Jackson, it's a small sample size. I thought he really stepped up and gave us what we needed, and I was proud to see him do that.
What do you make of Eli Apple's season, and is he someone that you guys would want back moving forward?
I think Eli was a valuable piece for us, and it's finding corners that can go out there and function on a weekly basis is really hard to do. I thought Eli's done that for us for the last 2 years, and he's been a big part of the success that we've had.
The last three drafts have been rather bountiful. Is there any one common denominator, any one strand that you can kind of attach to the success of the last three?
Well, I think just very thorough in a process and a belief that when we submit the card or I guess phone call is how it works now, there's belief that this player is going to help us win, and I think that's what Duke does a great job navigating that process. Starting during the season with the scouts to involving the coaches here in March and April, and then getting to that point in late April. It's a fascinating process to watch. He does a great job mastering it. And, I think he's just very thorough in his approach to finding the right players for us.
One thing Duke said was that having another late first-round pick this year makes you guys more flexible. How nice is it having that flexibility just in your all's eyes to take that late in the first round?
Well, there's obviously an unknown of who's going to be there because, it is so late the first round, but I think we've done a great job of finding value there these last couple of years, and we've got to continue to do that in order to be a good team.
Continuity has always been a big thing for you, Zach, with the coaching staff. But what about the players? Duke was saying that this is not a situation where you guys are in where you're going to go external in terms of free agency anymore. You're looking to keep the players you already have. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, well, we know what we have, the players who have been in our locker room. And so the best thing is to get as many of those guys back as you possibly can. And so that's the process we're undergoing right now. You never want to lose too many guys at once, obviously, of a big nucleus of what our team's been about. And so, again, that's just what we've got to navigate now. We've got a lot of great players that are deserving of money, young and old, and we'll sort through how all that looks now.
Is it a good problem to have? Is it simple as that?
These are problems you want. You want to be a championship caliber team that's competing for championships, that has young talent, old talent on the team, that you're always looking to reward. I think that's the best problem you can have.
As a play caller, how nice has it been to have T. Higgins on the opposite side of Jamar Chase?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's that's why whenever you see the rumors floating around there, it's nonsense because at the end of the day, I do get to call the plays, and it's fun having weapons out there, and you don't really want to give those up.
So you just laugh that off?
I do, yes, I do.
When you complete the exit interviews, do you have a general sense, without revealing it, just guys that are coming back, guys that you think won't? I mean, do you have a pretty good sense of it as a head coach of like what direction things are going?
Yeah, I think free agency can always surprise you either way, and so you try not to overthink it. We try not to have those conversations just in the exit process. We want a good feel for our guys and for them to understand their value to us going into this process because it does get into the business side of things now, and that's a little bit hard to control. But I think our guys know how we feel about it.
How much communication do you have with Burrow, period, between the end of the season and kind of this point in the offseason?
You try not to overdo it because he probably gets tired of me over the 7-month period. So you don't want to overstep that way. But he's a big part of what we do, and we want to make sure that we're always communicating with him and what's going on. And again, he's a guy who's around the building a lot, working out there, pops into the offices just to catch up and see what's going on. So again, he's very valued for us.
What does it say that he's still kind of in town? He's not like out of town in the offseason, but he's still coming around?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he may pop in and out of town. I see him sparingly. And again, we're out of town doing different stuff like this too, so it's hard to know everybody's schedule, but I'm sure he gets some time off as well.
Zach, when you have a chance to meet with prospective draft players here at the Combine? What's most important to you in those conversations you have with those players?
Everyone's a little bit different, because you go on all those interviews, maybe trying to gain a little bit different information on each guy. Because again, Duke and that staff have met on all these guys. We're catching up to the information that they have. So some guys, you're trying to learn different things about them. How they'll fit in your schemes, how they'll fit in your locker room. And I think that the guys do a good job navigating that room and making sure we get the right information.
Is it more personality based that you're trying to learn about the person?
Every player is different. Some it's scheme and their knowledge of their scheme and how they'll fit in your scheme. Some of it's just getting to know the player a little bit more before you jump into these Zooms and the pro days and the private workouts. And so, it's pretty generic for the most part, but it can evolve from a guy to guy.
As far as explosive plays in 2021, obviously that was huge, and defenses adjusted, tried to take them away. Do you need to add more speed this offseason? Is that on the priority list?
I think we try to find the best way for us to score points every year. And so whatever that makes our offense look like, we're going to try to find ways to be able to do that.
Is it hard as a head coach? Obviously, you have a lot of experience with it now, but to not with having to catch up with the draft, but then you can't skip over free agency because that's such a vital part in terms of maybe shaping some of the decisions you make for the draft. Is it hard to not maybe gloss over free agency to focus on the draft? How much does one dictate what you guys do in the other one?
Well, it's good that they're separated by a month and a half at the end of the day. So you're able to prepare for both. You can make sure you're ready for free agency and the decisions you're going to make. At the same time, watching draft prospects and learning that information. And then free agency kind of comes to an end. It slows down, and you get that month to focus on the draft and make sure you're cleaning up everything on that end and getting to all the workouts you need to get to and talking to all the guys you need to talk to. So I think it's spaced out enough to where you can focus on one with all your energy and then make sure you're able to clean up the draft.
Do you feel like you guys needed a little bit more juice in the pass rush at times last year, in particular maybe on the interior? I know BJ was playing a lot of snaps for a long period of time. Is something you guys feel like maybe you need a little more?
Well, I think it's never bad to have more pass rush. You do see teams start to evolve how they play against us, where they got to get the ball up quicker because of the effect that our guys have up there. And so you got to kind of balance both things. I think the guys we roll out there have done a great job getting pressures on the quarterback. And maybe it's not always sacks, but they certainly feel the pressure. And you're never opposed to finding ways to generate more pressure.
How did the run game evaluation go? I'm sure you've already done all this stuff. What did you think about the run game?
Yeah, you'd want to be more explosive at times. I think the efficiency's there for what we wanted to get out of it. And at the end of the day, that's our number one focus, is making sure we're efficient and staying on track with the downs. But at the same time, you want more explosive runs.
Do you feel like Nixon has been efficient enough for you guys to be a good offense moving forward with the opportunities?
Oh, I certainly think that he has. I think our backs have done a great job. And the explosiveness comes from all the positions. That's not just a running back thing. That's blocking on the second level, blocking on the third level for guys, and that's in putting those guys in the right position as well.
With the way that you guys play, how much more important is pass protection for a tackle than the ability to blow open a run? Obviously you want both, but how much more do you side to that when you're evaluating guys because the way you guys play and the way Burrow throws?
It's a balance. I don't feel like the last second you're on the clock, that's the final question. We've done such a thorough evaluation of all these guys and how they fit us overall that you try to take all those things into account. So probably didn't answer your question the way you wanted it, but there's so many things that you take into account there.
Zach, heading into free agency, you have 4 starters on defense that their contracts are up, and obviously I'm sure you guys at this point know who you'd like to target and have deals out for them. Do you have any nerves about it going with that many starters, kind of their future up in the air?
I think this is just the circumstances we're dealt with right now, and so again, that process is going to play out over these next couple of weeks. Those guys know how we feel about them. They've obviously been a big part of what we've accomplished. And so, we're just going to continue to navigate these waters and figure out how it works out for us in the next couple of weeks.
Do you feel set with Drew at punter, or do you envision an open competition in camp?
Yeah, I think it's good to have competition.
That's not a position you would draft?
I think that part's hard to predict. We just see where the draft goes and where the value lies.